Alhaji, how you know go come launching? Where now you be chairman for launching committee?
Wallahi, you don't rob me, wallahi.
Orimio, robbed?
Am I customer?
Where? How you take her?
We don't do business detail, wallahi, you may understand. I think about 3 years now with the do business. I don't know what will happen. With the do business, I go change dollar for he go call me, I go change dollar. Alhaji, bring $4,000. Alhaji, bring $8,000.
Hey! Now 419.
It won't be 419, wallahi. I don't know what will happen, but not be 419.
Now 419. Now 419.
You don't go let them finish in Tori. Please continue, Alhaji Bala.
Now him yesterday morning, he can't call me. As you call me finish, you can't talk, sir. Alhaji, bring $50,000.
$50,000. Hey! This one I set up.
Listen.
So now him, I can't say talk. This business good for make I come quickly run carry the money. Make I go do the business before I go for the lunch and go. So to me, I don't even get that kind of money for my account.
Hey.
Now him, I can't call some of my people. As I call them, I can't say, okay, make them borrow me money. I can't borrow me money. I can't carry join the money where I did. I just my own $28,000. Now him, I can't join them. After I join them, talk. Now him, I can't carry. We can't go. We can't meet the man. As we meet the man, talk. I just reached there now. We meet him in certain room. Now him can give me. He can give me 7.5 million. Okay. Me I can't give him dollars. Well, I see your number.
That's all.
That's all.
Do you know? Wait, do you know my problem with Alhaji? Alhaji do the truth. If you see anybody, you just trust him.
For 3 years now, me and this man don't do business. Even my way in there for abroad, he go call me, I go put money for inside my account. He go come, he go even give me the money, he go pay me back.
Oh, you see now, not be your fault. Say you trust them now. Not be your fault.
No, Alhaji, you were too trusting. Only the $50,000, Tonton, and $50,000. No.
As they call me, now we can go meet the man. I call some of my people, they follow us to make them give us police, but that's all the police done they're busy. Now we can go, as we go finish, I said to them, me and this man we don't do business stating now. Why I go turn the downtown now? Now I go.
Hey. So police, no carry police call.
So that's the police done they're busy. What we go do now?
You know how these people they do. They go just start with small money.
Hey.
You know, if I tell you 10 or 419, you go that to me. They go start with small money.
Hey.
They go to bring you clothes. Small. Before you know, they go just hit you like a sumo.
Hey.
So now him we go over. As we go now, we meet the man in Saddam for a house like this for inside sitting room. As he sit down, now we go, before we talk, the man come bring 7.5 million naira. As he bring 7.5 million naira, me I can't give him the dollars. So now him will leave. Now we can't go now. Now for the man street power we stay there, we never ever walk out bridge anywhere. Now here's some boys just come out from somewhere, just corner us. With one and cutlass, they just became the beaters. They just the beaters. They beat us like a drum, but like the kind of beaters.
She was not the looking since. I see your eyes for that.
Alhaji.
See, this why you don't carry see. This one not even smart. If I open my back for you,
Look at your face. Why you not carry police people? Go that place. Go finish all of them. Arrest everybody.
We go. We go meet police. So the country bus a truck load full of police.
Okay.
Now we come go there. As we reach there, finish. Everything clear.
They don't have
nobody there but there.
This is 419. This is 419.
This one is equivalent to 410.
And Kuma Wallahi na duplex. Them sweep everything. Just sweep everything.
Sorry.
Don't punish me why you under. This is what the wicked was.
Yes.
Sorry, but the next time maybe you will learn from this one.
Yes.
They trust the people.
I will get back to you, don't worry. This is serious.
I hear you speak your language.
Oh, yes.
I hope all is well.
All is well.
What was that all about?
No problem at all.
We all you, they don't bring your village juju come and
No, not at all. No problem. We don't even quarrel where I come from. Yes, it's my people, they're gone. They say they do village meeting for our place. They come talk, say, they don't agree. Sorry. Say they don't agree. Say they don't agree. Say they won't make me local government chairman. Say me, I'm an honest man. Yes.
Local government chairman.
Now so they talk.
Now you don't even enter Nepal, you don't enter because
Look at this now. This is not the way things don't come government chairman me. We now.
I beg. I know. We now. When I don't even ask me whether I won't go.
because I thought.
You know where I go? Chidi, I don't know now. I don't know.
You don't know what it. You don't know what it. The meaning of you being local government chairman. This man is not serious. You say you don't know what it. You never know. Now this book printer when you do with Yamo, you know. Now you won't continue to do it. I said that you are dying.
God forbid.
God forbid. You know they do job. You never know whether one of the help will pay all the money when those boys don't take from your hand. You never talk.
When I don't dance finish. When I don't dance finish.
See, the one where they fear me pass. When they fear me pass, they say, me, I don't want to do politics. That is just it. I don't want to do politics.
When I don't dance finish.
Wait, we can talk about this.
Why do you want to do politics?
You don't know the way then they kill themselves, they kill all the politicians, they carry them, kidnap some people, kidnap their wives and their pickings.
So who is now going to kill your own wife and children now? Why you want to fear?
Nobody will kill your wife. Your picking. That's your picking, not without your picking. When head it like
Okay, so we don't bring that one now.
Don't bring.
Okay.
Don't mind that,
Okay, fine. At the fear, how would they protect myself?
That was not the problem now. We will give you security. In fact, we will bring Bakasi boys.
And me, Sakila, I can get you all this.
Even me myself, wallahi, I feel organized all the Ariwayans them for you. Nobody fit you.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
Okay, I don't hear you now, dog, so no problem. But you see, waiting they fear me now again. They say, say, these politicians, EFCC, these people that can fly all about the place, then they change politicians all about the place. Me, I don't want to go prison.
They change the politician. You don't ever see anybody go prison for Nigeria.
No.
So why you can't worry yourself?
Why they worry? You know what did I do when I catch them?
If they catch you, let me even educate you. Because if for you to become chairman, local government chairman, you need education. Do you understand? Let me educate you. If they catch you, in fact, before they catch you, pack up the money as much as you can. So that if they catch you, you will receive the money to sort yourself.
I don't want to go. I don't want to go at all. Wait till me that.
See, let me help you next. You will do flip again.
If you just still 60 billion naira, when I go just the go just give lawyer money for it, just judge.
No, you will just just settle something. Well, the judge will not have any choice. All he can do is to apply the law. Maybe they will jail you for about 12 months with an option of fine. And what is that? Leave it over. When there is money.
Okay, so that means that
What is it?
They will not jail you past more than 12 months. And let me tell you, on the day that you will come out of that jail, self, I will sponsor your Ashwebi.
Okay, Chidi, what are you going to do? You can't do anything, you see, you're looking about.
Wait, let me come. Wait, I want to do something. What? Let me come. Take it easy, let me laugh. Number one, I will be in charge of all the furniture where they go put for your house. Number two, I know you will be in the school. So I will also be in charge of all the furniture where they go put for the school. You know those kind of furniture where they put for government house? Those special ones. I'm also looking at one. I will be in charge.
That's business. So now, what you are saying now is in case, for instance, now I come become local government chairman, then they come put me for precinct. You, when I come out now, you go do as your view for me.
Yes, now. Because that prison will go past 12 months. And they will give you option of fine.
It's alright, no problem now. I don't know what you want to. I know what you want to. I don't take it now. Thing like that. So, but what you go do now?
Wait. Before the prison matter, when you are local government chairman, all the Ashwebi that you will need for your lunch, for your birthday, your wife's birthday, commissioning, every birthday in your place. We will. The Ashwebi is coming to.
No problem. Even my mother-in-law's I want in charge.
I'm going to take all the dollars when I'm going to give to you. Give a man with 10 times, we'll go share up. No,
like the for Senate. Bill passed. No problem. So, now like this now, you go do Ashwebi. So I will give you Ashwebi contract. You, I will give you all the furnitures everywhere in the community. And the Bala, you know, say now you could be the person. When I don't carry plenty money like this, I won't go do training for overseas. Now you could help me to change the money.
You don't do my back, no, they pay me again.
Eshima. Mama. I'm out of food. Eshima, thank you, ma.
Amaka, ṣé wọ́n ni? Soap, orí, shea butter.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Another thing we can't do. Hear me now.
Wait again.
Oh God. Oh God. You. Chess.
I don't know, man. I'm for another.
Chess.
Isn't that juju?
I want this protection very badly.
You know they find another excuse, Abi.
I want protection because I don't want to die. I don't want to die at all.
That one no be problem now. We get a gift for here when I chop up all the abundant. The Jabu people they sabi juju.
Do you know that when I was very small, that time I was growing up, you get to one man from my village. The man said, if you see inside body, you know what thing they like? I am from Ijebu Ode.
You people should take your time.
But not true. Local people sabi you very, very well. Yes. Very, very well. They sabi you.
You know how to do in your own place.
We get. And in case you don't know, Chief, me, I don't know juju. For instance, I know say you feel begin the one that say that one will come that time, come they do like this. That take me. It's a fake. I don't know juju at all. If you But I thought the way it was different. It was different like this. So I know happy to continue your story about the distance. No vex. It was I wanted you to.
Anyway, I can actually help you to get the protection, eh?
Okay.
Because true, you remember there's juju. There's this one that they call onde. Then there's another one they call ifupa. You see that onde? It's like a juju belt like this. They tie it around the waist. Yes, for protection. And now ifupa, now for arm. When you say when you don't tie up like this, if they carry gun, they shoot you.
Oh, they shoot.
Now so the bullet will just come out like this.
It goes to come out.
High jump.
Very good.
High jump.
Very good. You see, this thing will not talk, so you make me remember fella. Oh yes, fella one time like this. Now one if him begin talk for one paper like that, say he want to get or they chief for body. You understand? Nine them come. As them come, then carry. You say one man agility, one agility, one baba agility like that. Say he want to charge for him. Then papa come carry clothes like this. We then do like bulletproof. You wear for fella. They go say he go shoot fella. Will say make fella no worry, nothing go do him. Now him back up. You know back up.
Hey doctor.
Yes, doctor. Yes. Back up on talk. Say wait, okay, wait before you shoot my brother. Let us first test this thing on the coat. Now he then carry the bulletproof coat where you can say if he shoot, nothing could do. He wear him for coat. Now him as they shoot coat like this. Now he got open eye. He not even shot because when the thing hit him for a focal cord.
I know what make your brother die.
Now him dey go. Come see fella eye don't red. He eye red well. Can't go see him brother back come tell him. He will let us wait for that. That's why I hear for people and I begin to
But this one don't be like, don't be agility. Don't be agility to do this one. Now correct to do what I bring for you. Protection, I need. Now we talk because I will be the advisor.
Special advisor.
Special advisor.
So as I don't talk now, no problem. I could go. I could won't go for this thing now.
Hey, we know.
Chairman. His national name is called
Ask from today. All your celebration. Now we go to get
my BMD. Oh God.
You know the big man. Yes, so
Yes.
No.
All the time where I go spend for this my local government chairmanship service. Now your bank like this. Now your bank like this. Now with the bank with. That is me. That is me, sir. So don't worry. I will give you the contract. Your bank will come and be carrying all the money for local government constituency. Good to have you. It's okay, no problem. You see, I promise you.
Champagne.
But now what? What now? I think you want me to cancel your contract? No.
No mind them, Balajo. No mind them.
Oh, yes. As I'm now the local government chairman.
He's not talking to you people. Champagne.
I will pay for everybody food. Take it easy. I will not do transfer. I will pay cash and get it.
samu yanayi a ƙasar nan yadda za a samu cikakken ci gaba.
Ìwàásù ẹni ọ̀wọ̀ ní kólà tó fún ó ní ó yẹ kí àwọn ènìyàn súnmọ́ Ọlọ́run kí á sì máa.
Dub. Yes. Oh. Now my dirty they smell like this. Now to throw away am quick. This kind smell fit make man sick. That woman throw away dirty for ground. Me sef go do the same this time around.
Hold up.
See, to do this kind badness by the book, you make sure say person no dey look. And then you drop am nicely. Bros, nothing will happen. Trust me.
See, if you throw away dirty for ground, another person self throw away dirty. Everybody come begin to throw away dirty for ground. Everywhere go come dey smell. Gutter go block, road go block, and you will like to dey dab. Now you say no more dabbing for you be that too. Dab.
And that this election will be very free, fair, credible, and peaceful. There will be no problem.
Independent National Electoral Commission in Osun State begins the distribution of sensitive materials to all the 30 local government areas of the state.
Speaker House of Representatives Yakubu Dogara formally declares his defection from the All Progressives Congress APC to the People's Democratic Party PDP.
And in sports, Amaju Pinnick emerges as winner of the Nigeria Football Federation presidential election.
To continue with our vision of what we want to do for Nigerian football.
President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the appointment of a campaign organization for his re-election in 2019 with Chibuike Rotimi Amechi as Secretary and Director General. Chibuike Amechi was the Director General of the Buhari Osinbajo Presidential Campaign Committee in 2014 to 2015 that won the elections and brought the current administration into office. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garuba Shehu, indicates that the Director General will announce other appointments into the campaign structure as approved by President Buhari.
The All Progressives Congress says it is determined to conduct a free and fair primary elections to elect credible candidates that will bring out candidates who will not only add value but also identify themselves to the hopes and aspirations of the people of Nigeria.
This is part of the decisions at a meeting between APC governors and the national executive of the party in Abuja. Our political correspondent Saliu Abdullahi reports.
The meeting, held behind closed doors, lasted several hours. It came less than 24 hours after the National Working Committee of the APC released a revised timetable for its primary elections nationwide. Chairman of the Progressives Governors Forum and National Chairman of the party addressed the media on issues at stake.
We have adopted both direct and indirect. Most of the states are going for indirect primaries, but for the president, it will be direct primaries.
No, there is no APC governor that is a battle. Right. And because we are democratic, the best way to measure democracy is the presence of more than one person showing interest in an office. That does not make any other person a battle.
Meanwhile, the party has commenced screening of aspirants into various elective offices.
We had a state executive committee meeting with stakeholders, and we settled for direct primaries.
Well, the position of the state executive committee of Bauchi, which they took while I was away in China with Mr. President, is for indirect primaries.
I've had the opportunity to interface and brainstorm with our party leaders.
I think for many of us that are running for the second time, the screening is just a confirmatory process.
And we are quite impressed with the level of preparation that is provided by the party leadership.
The exercise is expected to last till Saturday, 22nd September 2018. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
In another development, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, has formally declared his defection from the All Progressives Congress APC to the People's Democratic Party PDP.
Political correspondent Timothy Yusuf reports that the Speaker was at the National Secretariat of the PDP, where he also submitted his nomination and expression of interest forms to recontest election into his federal constituency seat in the 2019 general elections.
Deputy National Chairman North of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Senator Babayo Gamawa, received Speaker Yakubu Dogara on behalf of the party's National Working Committee. Speaker Yakubu Dogara said his visit to the National Secretariat of the PDP is to further put all speculations about his purported defection bid to a stop.
So we welcome you back and give you all our assurances. I have decided to come back to my original roots.
Meanwhile, a member of the PDP, Ahmed Buhari, who earlier declared his intention to contest the office of the President of Nigeria, was at the National Secretariat of the PDP, where he expressed disappointment with the aspirants being fielded for the office of the President in the 2019 general election.
For the PDP to actually...
Nigeria, Osogbo branch, the resident electoral commissioner in Osun, Olusegun Agbaje, said the materials would be taken immediately to all the 30 local government areas with full coverage of security personnel attached to each vehicle.
And we pray that these vehicles will get safely to their destination and that this election will be very free, fair, credible and peaceful. There will be no problem.
Being a litmus test for 2019 general election, INEC is bringing in innovation into its sensitive materials.
The ballot papers are customized, and out of the 30 local governments, each ballot paper has different color coding. So you cannot take ballot paper of Iferedun and take it to Elisha or any other local government. The result sheets are customized as well. So you cannot take a result sheet from one RA, even in Ifelodun, to another RE, because it is customized to that particular local government.
The materials include ballot papers, card readers, PU forms, among others. Security operatives were stationed at the entrance with men of counter-terrorism and anti-bomb units on guard. In Osogbo, Femi Afariogun, NTA News.
Meanwhile, as part of additional efforts put in place to ensure compliance with restriction of vehicular movement during the Saturday 22nd September 2018 gubernatorial elections in Osun State, the Federal Road Safety Corps has deployed 1,500 personnel with 60 vehicles to man strategic routes during the exercise. To achieve each free vehicular movement, the Corps Marshal Federal Road Safety Corps, Dr. Baboye Oyeyemi, has called on road users, especially those plying the identified routes, to note that while Ibadan-Akure Expressway will be opened for free vehicular movement, vehicles will not be allowed to drive off the highway into Osun State, as all connecting roads will be blocked. In the same vein, all roads leading to the state through Iwo, Ila, Rogun, Erile, and others will be temporarily closed from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. on the election day. According to BC Kazim, the Corps Public Education Officer, the Corps Marshal also directed the deployed personnel to mount surveillance, ensure strict compliance to established guidelines, provide intelligence, collaborate with sister agencies and display high level of professionalism in ensuring compliance to the restriction order. Oyeyemi therefore advised road users to comply with this partial restriction order, exercise patience and cooperate with law enforcement agents to ensure a peaceful conduct of the elections.
In the meantime, the National Orientation Agency, NOA, says the task of ensuring peaceful conduct of the forthcoming general election should be viewed by Nigerians as a collective responsibility. The Director General of the agency, Garba Abari, said this when he led the National Peace Dialogue Committee for the general election on an advocacy visit to the headquarters of the Nigerian Army in Abuja. The committee from the civil society, military and paramilitary. The Director General said is out to sensitize Nigerians and to drum support for the task of ensuring peace before, during and after the 2019 elections.
The role of the Nigerian armed forces in the restoration of peace in Sierra Leone and Liberia alone, in terms of both the cost to the nation, it cannot be quantified adequately. And that actually makes it imperative that preparing our minds, preparing our groups and organizations into developing a culture of peace so that our election will be the type that will be an envy of all.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, represented by the Chief of Policy and Plans, Major General Rashid Yusuf, assured the committee of necessary support in line with its constitutional mandate.
The FCT Independent National Electoral Commission has announced that the permanent voter cards belonging to residents who registered during the continuous voter registration exercise in the first quarter of 2018 are ready for collection.
Administrative Secretary INEC FCT Nick Dazang revealed that the Commission received an additional 53,770 freshly printed PVCs for a portion of registrants in the first quarter of 2018 just suspended continuous voters registration exercise. Therefore, residents who registered between January and March 2018 can now collect their PVCs.
We invited the electoral officers of the 6 area councils and their staff, and together with
Kuje, 4,258 PVCs, Kwali, 1,047 PVCs, while Abuja Municipal Area Council received a total of 34,996 permanent voter cards.
Before we suspended the continuous voter registration exercise, we had received some cards arising from the registration we conducted in 2017. Now, these cards that we have just received from the headquarters are in respect of some backlog of 2017 and registrations from January to March 2018.
With the decentralization of the collection of permanent voter cards, INEC has instructed that the PVCs be collected at the ward registration areas. Ifoma Ojinta, NTA News.
Many thanks, Ifoma Ojinta, for that report. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari has granted audience to the new Director General, Department of State Security Service, Yusuf Magaji Bichi.
State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports on the first formal interaction between the President and head of State Security Service.
Appointed about 1 week ago, the new Director General, Department of State Service, Yusuf Magaji Bichi, arrived at State House to keep a date with history. The core Secret Service operative is meeting President Muhammadu Buhari for the very first time. Their strategic meeting, held behind closed doors, lasted more than 30 minutes, but details were not made public. Mr. Yusuf Bichi began his career in the security division of the Cabinet Office in Kano, from where he joined the defunct Nigerian security organization NSO. Trained in the United Kingdom as well as the National Defense College, the DSS boss comes to the job with skills in intelligence gathering, research analysis, conflict management, and general investigation. He also acquired requisite knowledge on human resources management, risk and vulnerability, as well as counterintelligence and protective operations. In the course of his career, Mr. Bichi served as the State Director of Security in Jigawa, Niger, Sokoto, and Abia states. He was at various times the director in charge of the various directorates, Department of State Service, including Security Enforcement, Intelligence, Operations, as well as State Service Academy. Mr. Yusuf Magaji Bichi succeeded Lawal Daura, who lost his job on the 7th of last month. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And on flood reports, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has commended Delta State for its swift response in bringing comfort to flood victims.
The Vice President, on a one-day tour of flood-ravaged communities, promised federal government support in resettling the victims. Ifeoma Okafor has the details.
The VP, accompanied by the Minister for Labour and Productivity, Chris Ngige, was received by Governor Fanyo Kowa, his deputy, Kingsley Otuaro, and other top government officials. The VP is in Delta State to have an on-the-spot assessment of the havoc caused by the recent flood. He visited the ICE camp, where thousands of the victims have already been accommodated. He was conducted around the medical center, accommodation section for women and children, and the storeroom. The Vice President thereafter unveiled his package of hope.
The President has actually ordered the declaration of a national disaster in 4 of the states, including Delta State, to explain, and this I think underscores the enormity of the disaster here and what needs to be done. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, not just by way of providing temporary relief and succor, which is being done in the IDP camps. And we've also asked that the National Emergency Management Authority move quickly to supply additional relief materials for all of the IDPs. I expect that by the end of today or tomorrow, we should have an additional relief materials, water, food relief, and beddings and all of that, whatever is required, not necessarily in this camp, but in all of the camps, all of the IDP camps or holding camps as they are now called, all across the state. Now the more difficult part, and that's the part of it that we need to discuss fully with the state government, is how to ensure that when the water recedes, when the flooding subsides, how we're able to resettle people and and be able to bring them back or put them back in a state where they'll be able to continue their lives normally.
We are very happy that he has found time very early to visit Delta State following the flooding which has gone through several states now, because we are aware that in the flooding process, usually Delta State is the last to be impacted. We will do
across the 6 political zones of the country. This is sequel to reports on rising levels of water on rivers Benue and Niger, which led to the declaration of a national emergency on flooding. The Commandant General, Abdullahi Gana Mohamadu, directed all zonal and state commands to ensure appropriate deployments.
The CG has created disaster response unit at zonal levels so as to facilitate and make it much easier for all of you to ensure that we join together with our other principal holders in disaster management in Nigeria. We have one in Lagos, in Kaduna, in Minna, Benin City, Bauchi, Owerri, Abeokuta, and Lokoja. These are the centers we have identified as where you rally around to ensure, with the cluster of state around you, you have to do the best you can do to make sure our fellow Nigerians are not consumed with the flood.
The various formations to forward situation reports promptly to the coordinating body at the headquarters for prompt action and synergy with other critical agencies.
The federal government has set in motion modalities towards reducing the prices of rice across the country.
Now, the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Audu Ogbe, says a special fund has been set up to support rice producers, millers, as well as marketers of the commodity. Musa Baba Aliyu takes the story from here.
The federal government is concerned about the high prices of local rice in the country, despite the fact that the country has made significant progress in the production of rice paddy. This meeting between the federal government officials, rice farmers and millers is to therefore discuss factors responsible for the high cost of local rice.
Because we are concerned about the cost of rice for the Nigerian family. We want our people to feed well and feed cheaply. But these things have to be managed carefully because we're dealing with public funds.
The government says the impact of flood on rice plantations calls for concerns. The minister, however, announced that focus will be on dry season farming to cover the losses recorded to flood.
That as soon as the rains go down, you'll go into new cropping. So that some of the residual water in the land and your irrigation facilities will give us another harvest of rice in about 90 days to 120 days. So we can supply rice to the millers.
Over 40,000 hectares of rice farms have either washed away or submerged across most rice-producing states. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
You know, this will certainly have a multiply effect on a cross-section of Nigerians. Rice is a staple and everybody eats rice. Almost every family eats rice on a daily basis.
This is a step in the right direction and it will definitely boost the Nigerian economy.
Certainly.
So our next story, Nigeria has become a regional office for the World Meteorological Organization, representing North, West and Central Africa.
Representatives of the organization and Nigeria signed the agreement, which began in 1996 to complete the establishment of the regional office in Nigeria. Emmanuel Ayimiru reports.
Because we are hosting the regional office, then it means if there is any benefit from WMO to Africa, it means within this particular region, Nigeria will always be the first to benefit from that.
The signing, which was done by the Secretary General, World Meteorological Organization, Peter Retalas, at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, after Nigeria had completed its own part, signals the beginning of weather services in the regional office in Abuja.
Continue to offer you all the necessary support and the logistic support to make sure to give bite to that agreement Nigeria has signed so that the office takes root firmly.
The Nigeria Meteorological Agency, NIMET, is driving the process to help actualize the dream of WMO in decentralizing its activities among the continents.
Nigeria has been doing a great job in supporting several of its neighboring countries, and Nigeria is having one of the leading Met services in whole Africa.
Principally, there are three benefits. One is controlling the communication from WMO Africa.
The regional office in Abuja will be supervising and serving about 27 countries in the North, West, and Central Africa. Emmanuel Ayemiru, NTA News.
The deregulation of the power sector has created room for the diversification of energy with the use of fossil fuel and other renewable sources.
Now, the Minister of State, Mines and Steel Development, Abubakar Bawa Buhari, stated this at the 2018 Nigerian Mining and Geosciences Society and Nigerian Geological Survey Agency Discuss Series in Abuja.
That through this event that we are holding today, our ministry can further add value to the quest to address the energy deficit of our country.
Despite these efforts, only 58% of Nigerians have access to electricity, and this has informed the policy thrust of federal government on the diversification of our primary sources of energy.
This geoscientist and mining engineers say they have their work cut out as they prefer solutions to energy policy in Nigeria, prospects for tourism, and its implication for the development of geothermal energy for socio-economic development.
This energy source will be added to our national energy mix and will be a game changer in the quest to providing our teeming rural dwellers with a renewable source of power which will kickstart rural economies and create the much needed jobs.
With countries like Kenya, Botswana, Ethiopia, and Tanzania with huge number of geothermal hot springs across Africa, it is hoped that with this discourse series, a communique will be issued at the end of this discourse series to harness the potential of geothermal energy as regards renewable power generation in Nigeria. In Abuja, Abdul Malik Adio, NTA News.
Thanks a lot, Malik. In view of the ongoing misunderstanding